The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
TV party tonight! What? TV party tonight!
Oh, we got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated, yes,
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my circuits!
Everybody loves hip photos.
Scary dog!
Dancing at Blurred Ball.
Futurama!
Hello. Good evening and welcome to TV Party Tonight. I'm your host, Alexis Hejna, and joining me, he's got broad shoulders, great hair, and nipples like Spanish doubloons, Mark Radulich.
There it goes. Hello there, children. Yes, it is I, Sleepy McGee.
Well, if you're so sleepy, then we'll just cut to the chase. We are wrapping up on Resident Alien Season 4, the finale. We have been with this show since the beginning, enjoying the hell out of it, and it is time to bring things to a close.
Do you remember how all this started? It was we did a comic strip, I think it was. We read the book, or whatever the first trade was, and we reviewed the first season. And by God, I thought, well, this is done now. We've done this. We never have to do it again. And here we are, 3 seasons later.
Well, that's like any one of us who get involved with the podcast, you know? We think we've escaped your clutches, but you just keep pulling us back in.
I don't pull anybody. You all show up on my doorstep and won't leave.
No matter how hard we try.
Mm.
But yes, 4th season of Resident Alien, created by Chris Sheridan, starring Alan Tudyk, Sarah Tomko, Corey Reynolds, Alice Wetterland, and a barrage of guests, including Linda Hamilton and this season Stephen Root. Because who else are you going to get to play the father of the alien?
He was great. I was telling you before the show, the least interesting parts of this show were the sci-fi adventure elements. Like the most interesting stuff was the dramatic thing, the character arcs, the dramatic turns, the relationships between these characters, except for everything involving Stephen Root. He was fantastic. I loved everything he said. I wish he had lasted more than an episode.
Absolutely. I mean, anytime Stephen Root gets added to something, it's going to be awesome. Hell, I loved his little moments in The Mandalorian.
Yeah. What I remember of them, yes.
But yes, Resident Alien, we have been chronicling the life of Harry Vanderspiegel, who, well, now known to a lot of people, is actually an alien who crash landed on Earth to destroy the planet and ended up discovering his humanity. As the 4th season wraps up and we start to learn what happens when an alien grows a soul.
Yeah, it was an interesting concept. So what Alexis is talking about is the lore of the show is only humans have souls, and souls are a commodity in space. They can be converted into energy or whatever the hell it was. It was something stupid. But after 3 seasons of Harry being a stranger in a strange land, and his alienness gives him like superpowers. This season, the big hook is after being on the alien spaceship as a prisoner, he lost his essence, and now he is like Superman in Superman 2. He has given away all of his superpowers, and he is mortal, and he has to live with being mortal. And so there's a lot of, like, over the course of 10 episodes, there's a lot of him just adapting to being human, figuring out what that's like, and in doing so, he grows a soul, and that becomes a huge plot point.
Definitely. We have to contend with the evil Mantid, the definitely bad alien, the shapeshifter, voiced by the always awesome Clancy Brown, who has taken Harry's place in Patience, Colorado. And it is just hilarious because it's like, it's the directors are like, okay, because it's Alan Tudyk playing another alien pretending to be Harry Vanderspiegel. So it's like Harry removed by two.
Well, I was gonna say, you know how like the direction to Alan Tudyk is, you're a dick, but you're mostly likable. You're kind of autistic.
Hmm.
Playing the alien, playing him, he was like, that element of it where you're likable, you know, and awkward. Yeah, throw that out. Now you're just a dick.
Yeah.
Now you're just awful.
Oh, and also you want to try to mate with Asta. So, just let's see the most awkward seduction in the history of mankind.
I liked the stuff with not that particular bit, but over the course of the season, um, you really get to see how close Asta and Harry are. They love each other in the way, in the only way platonic people can love each other. And when she talks about leaving, he really like throws him for a loop because, like, he struggles with change to begin with, but the idea that he could be in patience without Asta, she's his grounding object.
Hmm.
Without her, he's adrift and can't quite. As much as he has his own relationship with Darcy and gets along with her, and they have a really funny chemistry. The time travel episode is fantastic with those two.
Oh, yeah.
It's Asta. It is through his relationship with Asta that he grows in his humanity. And when she's saying that maybe it's time to go after her father talks to her about it, and her father says to her, "It's like there's so much of a bigger world outside of patience. Maybe you should go see it." And it's. I'll tell you this: as much as I'm glad this show is over, and it was one of those where I wasn't that excited to talk about it. There are moments in this show that are pretty brilliant, and Asta looking for her dad's approval, showing her competency, taking over the diner, and her father and is met with her father's kind of ambivalence about it. It was like, yeah, okay. Have you ever thought about leaving patients? And her just like, the fuck? Like, why does everyone take me for granted? But then coming to the realization that, tough love, her father was right. She has lived a provincial life, and maybe she's outgrown it. And Harry struggles with that. But by the end, they both realize, you know, all the- all the good boys of patience have finally found their adoptive parents, and it's time for Pete's Dragon to go find new boys.
Because we also have Harry's incentive to move on, and that is the return of Heather, the blue avian alien that he fell in love with in the previous season. Dealing with the fact that now that his alien essence has been stripped away, he can't actually see her as attractive. And finding out he's now a father of, well, aside from Bridget, now 5 little knockoff
Yes.
Labubu children.
Yeah. I thought that whole episode was like forced. It was like I know that they needed to give him a reason to leave at the end when he finally becomes an alien again. But I felt like while he was human and that was happening, I hate to be all West Wing about this, but in the real world, it would have been fine, and it would have been fine with her staying in her human form. But instead, we have to make him overly sensitive, and then it bothers me because it's such a stupid trope in Hollywood right now. Like, you deserve so much more than I can give you in this current form. Go, be happy. And it's like, what does she have to fucking do? Like, she clearly loves you and wants to stay with you. Stop saying she deserves better, you psycho.
Well, it's also the fact that her father shows up, who's just a freaking turn or something. I don't know what the deal was with that. And that and her father basically says in alien language, if you marry a human and decide to forsake your alien form, stay in your human form, then you are cut off from us forever. And yeah, Harry realizes that that's too big of a sacrifice for her. He loves her and he doesn't want her to have to give up her parents and her home planet and everything. And then there is something to that. And you're right. Part of that is a setup because he does realize once he gets his alien form back, he goes, it's like, I have a woman who wants. By the way, I don't care what anyone says. The proposal scene was so damn cute.
My mom and dad are. My mom is Jewish. My dad is, or was at one point, is like Catholic. And needless to say, on both sides of the family back in the 70s, Well, in New York, neither side of the family was in love with this idea of, this Jew marrying a Gentile, and vice versa. When my father said to both sides of the family, "We are getting married in March on this date. Show up or don't show up, but that's what I'm doing," and all of these people who voiced an objection were there for the most part, from what I remember. My point being, there were other ways to go with that. They chose the lowest hanging fruit to move the plot on.
Well, okay, because my parents both were Catholic, but my father was a divorcee. My mother's parents did not attend my parents' wedding. My
Mhm.
mother got walked down the aisle by her uncle. My maternal grandparents really didn't come back into their lives until I was born. Because it's like, okay, we forgive you for for the sacrilege of divorce because you've provided an offspring. So good for you.
You've created a sacrifice. We accept the sacrifice and we'll rejoin the family.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
So
that's I
So,
know.
I do kind of get it because, yeah, my mom was worried for a while if her family were going to cut her off. And thankfully they didn't. She's still very close with her siblings. But yeah, so it's like, I do kind of get that. And like I said, the proposal scene was really cute. The fact that Harry comes to her and is honest with her that, he is human and he can't assume his alien form, and he assumes that she's going to get angry and leave. And she gets down on one knee and proposes, and she says, "I'll stay in my human form for you. I don't care. You're the love of my life." It's like, oh my God, this is so damn cute. And then he gets ruined by the father, who's a freaking turn, and we get a POV shot of him attacking Harry.
Yeah, it was a fun scene. You haven't noticed your name yet.
Did you see my shirt?
I did. Schrodinger's cat. Very nice.
Schrodinger's cat.
The escape plan
Yes, I picked this up in Colorado.
is so the last convention I went to 100 years ago, there was a booth selling T-shirts that said "Apocalypse Cow," and I had to have it. I had to have an Apocalypse Cow shirt. But I did ask the vendor. I was like, "What is this supposed to be? Like, is this a band?" He was like, "No, actually, it's a musical." So, what is Schrodinger's cat? The escape plan?
The cat trying to figure out how to escape the box.
Okay, no, it's just a goofy shirt.
It's just a goofy shirt.
Okay.
I was working Colorado Springs Comic Con this last weekend, and this show is actually one of my favorites to work. Not just because I love the customers and I love selling stuff, but it gets some really awesome vendors, and I love all the goofy stuff. Here, I actually got one more thing here. It is a dinosaur chicken nugget coin purse.
Very nice.
I love it. I got this on a trade, actually. Made a custom necklace for a vendor, and she gave me this.
Nice. Well done.
Well, but no, like I said, I was glad that there was that incentive. We want Harry to have a happy ending. We knew that he needed to leave his planet, and we didn't want it to be a case of, I'll just go back and deal with the fact that my planet's going to be pissed at me because I didn't kill you all. We want him to have something to go to. He's got a family waiting for him.
Yeah.
That's a good ending.
Well, I don't know where this is in your list, but I just want to address the late season enemy, which is the one alien from his world that comes down to finish the job, and within a week of being there, being plied with women and alcohol, suddenly realizes, hey, wait a minute, maybe I don't want to kill the humans.
Hey, no one can refuse Shots, Judy, and Nicki Minaj.
That has been my experience. Yes.
No, again, there is something to that. First of all, I love that he takes the form of Dr. Ethan, so it's not a random case of, oh, there's this new doctor. Dr. Ethan was planning on, taking over anyway, so he's got the credentials.
Yeah, you said before it was like a perfect ending to the show, and I don't disagree with that. They wrapped everything up nicely. I think the characters have gone as far as they can go, and I think the lasting message of this show being humanity is a very unique thing and it's worth fighting for. Which may or may not be true in the cosmic sense, but I'm not here to debate that. In terms of a very humanistic, earthly sense, that is very true. And I thought it was a very nice message, and it was lived through by that character. That character within like an episode goes from "I'm going to kill them all" to developing his humanity in a way that even the other characters remarked it took Harry a while to do. Like, he does it like in record time.
Well, I do. Again, I was wondering at first, should we have just ended the show before Dr. Ethan showed up? Should it have been 9 episodes instead of 10? But
Mhm.
the more I thought about it, I realized aliens or Harry's race is going to keep sending people down to continue his mission. We need to have
They're
some kind
like
of
Skynet.
yeah, I know, right? So I like this. I was like, no, this actually makes sense. The idea that it's like, yeah, they'll keep sending them and we'll just keep warming up to them and showering them with kindness and love. And when they realize how great they love that kind of stuff, they will change just like Harry did. And now, like Dr. Ethan is. So again, it's like, at first I was like, do we really need this? But the more I saw, I was like, you know what? This actually makes sense. This is, and I do love that little line of Harry's at the end. It's like, probably not the first alien to come down here and be turned by humans by their kindness.
Yeah, it was a good line.
Yeah. So, but yeah, a lot of the main point of the season is about the Mantid, who is killed off, we think, in episode 3, but especially after we see Max, our alien tracker.
Really, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Annoying?
No, anticlimactic. They made such a big deal of this Mantid, and it's like blown away in episode 3, and it doesn't come back for another like 6 episodes or something.
Well, yeah, because we think he's dead because Heather comes back, or no, not Heather comes back and eats him. And I just love that it's right in front of Max and Asta. It's like, oh hey guys, you seen Harry gobble 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 gobble, just so casual. Don't bite me.
It annoyed me just because like it. This is one of the, I think that it's one of the problems with the writing is it didn't feel like an all the way through arc. It felt like some very disconnected stories that filled out a season. And so the Mantid is, you'd think the Mantid was going to be more of a presence throughout the season. It's really not. It kind of pops up when you need it to, and then summarily disposed of when you don't need it. And I'm like, that seems lazy to me. For it to have been killed the way that it was, because it was inconvenient to have it for the next few episodes, kind of annoyed me.
You're not wrong. Because at first the Mantid is the main plot point, but then by episode 3 he's killed, and then the main plot point is Harry reconcile the fact that he's human and given this opportunity to regain his alien powers,
right?
Which he needs once he finds out the Mantid is still alive.
Harry and like the 20 fetch quests.
It's like playing Final Fantasy VII. Side quests, never-ending side quests.
If Harry had rode a chocobo, I would be less, angry about it.
But we get a lot more of Harry trying to just grasp the fact that he's human now. We get some really great scenes of him trying to bond with Bridget, his son.
Mm-hmm. Bridget, the nice little marketing opportunity that Bridget has turned into amused me greatly.
I absolutely love the scene of Harry coming in and Bridget's freaking playing poker with a bunch of other aliens. It's like, I want to see alien poker games more often. There is just so much. There's so much potential for a scene like that.
It's so funny. It's funny that you reacted that way. You who have often talked about, various instances of being bullied, and all I could get out of that scene was poor Harry. Harry is like, I don't fit in with humans. I don't fit in with aliens. I have no tribe. I'm a man without a country. What is life? And like, he's poor Harry is like, like trying to get along with these guys, and they're just abusing him. And it's like, oh, I feel bad for him.
Okay, I may have written down, I want to see more alien poker games when Harry first walks in the door before he starts getting trashed by the other aliens, okay?
I mean, like, two things can be true at the same time. You can want more alien poker games, and those guys can be dicks.
There were 2 things I want out of this season. More alien poker games, and the knife that Mike brought to that dinner. That super sharp cutting knife. Sorry, the foodie in me looked up like, oh, give me.
So you're on TikTok. Have you seen like the cooking videos of like the guys cooking out in nature? And they're all selling knives.
Of course they are.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I've seen the ones where they build their own fire, catch the fish, skin the fish, cook it right there.
Right. Yeah, they're cooking on stone, shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I've seen plenty of those. Let me see here. I'm trying to go through my notes here. one of the other things I really enjoyed about the season is that finally, it's kind of driven me nuts, especially in the last season, because you get various different groups who have figured out the truth. They know, well, not the whole truth, but majority of the truth. You got Ben and Kate who have figured out that their baby was abducted by aliens and they've been regularly abducted and they want to get their child back. You have Mike and Liv who also saw an alien. Now, and for the first couple episodes, Mike's in complete denial until he finally, sees the truth and finds the alien goo.
I give him the goo. I know that we talked about how Mike's character has gotten less like annoying after the first season, where like his character was utterly like ridiculous, and so like, but like subsequent seasons, they've calmed him down. They went right back to first season Mike this season.
Yeah,
He's fucking awful. I there were times where I was kind of with him, like I understood where he was coming from, but for the most part, they made him dumb as a brick again, and like way cluster B personality disorder to the point where like, and I guess you have to make him that way so Liv can have appropriate tantrums, and you're cheering like, and you're always cheering for Liv. God, she has become one of my favorite characters in the show because she's just like, she's clearly lost weight and her clothing is big on her, and Mike doesn't notice, and she's just like every day a disappointment. Or like the very end where there's like, like, aren't you excited about the alien? No, I'm so sick of aliens. I never want to see another alien again.
Yeah, she's like, I thought, because she kept complaining that everyone else is seeing aliens besides her. Mike knocks out a gray and the government covers it up. Mike sees the mantid feeding on the deer while she's peeing. And it's like, you finally got to see an alien. She goes, yeah, and it tried to eat me.
Yep.
But again, what I was going back to is you got all of them do this. So you got Max and oh my god, what's the name of his friend? Sarah? What is it?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I got Sahar. That's it. Sorry, I mixed up the two letters there.
I felt bad for both of those kids. The less so the boy, but the girl has. I'm sure she's going to grow up to be a wonderful, beautiful human being. She's a bit in her awkward teen years right now, and it's like, the show has now taken so long, and she was just at the right age to have a giant growth spurt and be an awkward-looking teen. And it's like, ooh, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it. Like I'm just, I looked at her and I went, okay, sometimes puberty can be difficult.
Well, her character, frankly, kind of it really becomes annoying. Again, first of all, Max is very annoying in the first half of this season. The fact that he goes in blindly with Bridget thinking he's going to take out the mantis. It's like, no, you're not, sweetie.
Well,
go sit
Max
down.
has never been bright. But I actually like the stuff that towards the when he runs away from his mom at the gas station and he's like, I'm so tired of the like, I like the mayor character, but he's also a bit of a drip at times.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the fact that Max has finally fucking had enough of his parents. And they're, and it's hard, It is hard to know where to stop protecting your kids and where to let them, experience life. And not everyone gets it right, clearly, because, have you heard this? Have you seen the teacher TikToks of the COVID kids that are entering kindergarten? Like rabid animals, from what I understand.
My cousin's child just started kindergarten. I'll have to ask her about that. And Max is really useful later on because again, he's the only one who can see the disguise. So he's the one. He's like, I have to go into the caves. I know it's dangerous, but I'm the only one that can see through the disguises. And he does save their lives. Goes that when the manta takes on the form of Asta. And they can't tell which one it is. He's like, no, that's it. And they believe him. But yeah, Sahar doesn't really do much except undermine Max because she talks about how she's like, well, I'm the one that's in charge of the alien club now. And she develops the manta side. But there's this big stretch about her saying it's like, it's all natural, will not hurt the environment. And I'm just like, why is this a thing? I don't care that you invented a weapon against the mantid and it's all natural. I don't get why that's a plot point.
You being a liberal hippie communist, lesbian hooker, and you can't tolerate that tells you a lot about modern Hollywood writing.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I wouldn't have minded it if it felt like it was natural to the plot or actually contributed something. It felt like
Hmm.
I've been over this a million times. I am not against things like that. We talked about this when we talked about the whole I Know What We Did Last Summer TV
Yeah.
show. The excessive nudity in that show is like, I don't care if it's excessive nudity. I'm fine with it. But if it feels like it's just shoehorned in for the sake of being shoehorned in, then
My,
it's annoying.
right. One might even say, "Don't shove it in." Make it feel natural.
Pretty much. I felt like her talking about that was not natural. I mean, the manticide was all natural, but the
Here's what I'll tell
conversation
you.
wasn't.
Here's why it didn't bother me. If like Harry or Asta or Darcy had said it, it would have felt unnatural. That kid is the right age and the right level of shrill to do stuff like that. It was a one-time gag. If Judge Radulich will allow it.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
You're allowed to disagree with me. I'm just saying it. Like that didn't bother me.
All right, but going back to my main point, so we got all the groups, and throughout the third season, you get you get this question in your head. If you guys were just honest with each other, maybe the shit could have gone faster.
Well, that the episode where it all, which thank God, because I was getting a little tired of like no
Yeah.
one knows what anyone else is doing. Everyone has to lie to each other. Like it actually broke my heart when the mayor is talking to Darcy, and he knows she's lying, and he's straight up like, "Tell me the truth," and she won't, and he's just the look of disappointment in his face. Like, oh, that's heartbreaking. Okay, so the scene where at the end of the show where they finally all reveal, the mayor and his wife learn from Darcy that they've had the baby all along. Harry's an alien. This when they're at the fair and I think it's Asta who finally tells Mike and Liv that Harry's an alien. They're like, we already figured that out. She's like, carry on then.
I do absolutely love the scene when Mike and Liv figured out because, they realized there was another alien, and Liv goes, "Don't you remember when Max said?" And just you see the light bulb go off in their heads. It's a really well done scene.
I'll tell you what really annoyed me though. When they're talking about why Mike remembers going fishing with his dad, and it's like to reveal that Harry implanted the memory there so that they wouldn't question whether or not Harry was an alien, and Mike freaks out about it as much as he does. It felt like a very Mike moment, which is why I'm not going to harp on this too much, but it also the best analog I can give is the way Tony reacts to Steve and Bucky at the end of Civil War, which Andrew and I have gotten into fistfights over. I don't really need to relitigate that, but I said at the time, I don't think a rational human being would have reacted the way Tony did in that moment. I said the same thing about Star-Lord. When they're all trying to get the fucking gauntlet off of Thanos, and Star-Lord has a momentary moron moment. I was like, this is the kind of writing that it forces you to accept the character is beyond stupid, so that we can get past this point. The thing with Mike, when he's like, I refuse to forgive Harry, he implanted a memory of, and they're like, but you never took your dad fishing before that. Well, I might have had he not. Okay, you're only gonna you have this memory of taking your dad fishing once, so you're never gonna do it again. Dude, I took my dad fishing a couple of years ago. The only reason why I haven't is I don't have an extra $500 lying around to take the boat out. I would love to go fishing with my dad. Like it was a moment that felt at once very Mike, but also very untrue. Like, I understand Mike is the kind of person who blames the victim for why the cops shoot him, but it was a little too pitchy, a little too dramatic. Like, you're almost supposed to feel sympathetic for Mike, but I don't, and I think the whole thing was stupid.
Agreed. I do like the scene where Harry gets them to, or basically makes peace by setting up I mean, again, it was a situation that should not have come to that, but the way it is resolved is very heartwarming.
Yeah,
so I'm willing to kind of like, because yeah, I actually wrote on here, wow, Mike, one confession and you're ready to declare war on Harry, and then addendum, okay, super cute way to fix it. So it's like I agree
Yeah,
with
the
you, but
actual fishing scene's great.
yeah. So again, it's like I can't really hate on it now that I know what they did with it.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think I'm just over Mike.
Yeah.
He's another one where his whole character is this one gag.
No, you're absolutely right. And admittedly, he was the one who was grating on me the most. I do love that he gets recruited into this little alien. I joined the Men in Black. We're not actually called that.
If you don't join us, we'll have to kill you. Don't tell her. No, we don't. Like, you know how I talk about sometimes the writers are a little too in love with their own babies. They're a little too in love with their own jokes.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was one of those moments for me.
I get that, but I do love that that's the way things wrap up for Mike and Liv. That they joined the agency, and that little tidbit about Liv finding out fairies are real. I mean, come on, that was so stinking cute.
Yeah, I love Liv. Liv is fine. 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome. No notes.
Yeah. Let's see here. What else do I got on here? Note, geez, I've lost track of how many people say this is bullshit. That gets said a lot.
It does. Isn't there one where they tag team on it where it's like, this is some bull? Harry's like, shit.
Yeah. Well, what do you say we go ahead and talk about episode 6? This is the one that definitely hit us both the hardest. Harry is dragged up to the Galactic Housing Council because the Greys have apparently launched a lawsuit against him. I guess even in space, you can't avoid frivolous, lawsuits like that. And the council essentially says, okay, look, we can forgive you on everything if you kill the Mantid.
Right.
And at first, of course, that's when we think that the Mantid is dead. And Harry's like, oh, yeah, fine. Just go check up the corpse. And then you find out, nope, that thing basically fed off the nutrient-rich soil. I'll admit the way that they brought him back is stupid as hell, but fine. The Mantid's back. And you find out more more of the depth of what Harry has gone through in patience and how much he has grown, especially since now he doesn't have his alien essence anymore. And you get this heartbreaking scene with Darcy.
Yeah.
And because we talked about, I actually re-listened to our season 3 review while I was driving back from Colorado. Plug. Because I couldn't remember a lot of what we talked about, and I didn't want to rehash old plot points.
Right.
And we talked about Darcy's little suicide mission that she does to end the ship, to get rid of the Greys, and to bring back Ben and Kate's baby, and how we actually thought maybe it should have been a suicide mission. We didn't understand why she survived and came back, other than they didn't want to write off the character.
Right.
And we start to learn more about Darcy. Kind of felt the same way. She doesn't really know what she's doing with her life. She was an Olympic level skier. Didn't make it to the. She almost got to the Olympics. She qualified, didn't go, didn't compete. She doesn't really have any lasting relationships. She lives with Asta as a roommate, and she works the bar, and she's an alcoholic. And I don't care how much of an alcoholic you are, you do not start drinking when you have a secure money bag under your coat.
She's a bit flaky.
Yeah. Not as flaky as Judy, who we learned the only thing you call her for is when you're digging a grave. Otherwise, do not call that woman for help. And Darcy is kind of suicidal. She really doesn't understand why she's stuck around. She doesn't understand what she's supposed to do, where she's supposed to go. She feels she's just making everything miserable.
Yeah, Darcy is still, despite her chipper demeanor, is still going through the stages of grief of her career. A lot of her identity was tied up in Olympic level skier. And then she loses that opportunity, and she never quite figures out who she is. She finally does. When she sobers up, she starts going to meetings. She goes to the one kid's house and says to her, like, if you like to ski, go ski. If you want lessons, take lessons. But you're just making excuses to not live your life. And I've been down that road, and this is where it got me. Make better choices, kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Darcy kind of sees herself, and I totally get this, as somebody with wisdom that is able to be passed on, and if that's a good enough reason to go on. But yeah, I wrote to you like Darcy talking about actively wanting to kill herself. Like that was a rough fucking scene for me. I also been there, so um,
There's
I
also the scene in the powwow. Harry has they have to get the Ben and Kate's baby off of the reservation
mhm,
because Harry buckled under the jolts and inadvertently told the housing council where the baby was. Not blaming him. I think we could only take so many essential shocks with a cattle prod before we'd finally say, "Fine, I give up."
I know some people who you just have to threaten.
Yeah, I think some of them work for the network. But he takes he walks the baby and he notices the baby gets calm at from the sound of the drums. They're doing a powwow for the Ute community, and he goes in and you have this great conversation with this elderly Ute woman who just who discusses with him the belief that we are all connected. And I know that sounds corny as hell, but the way they talk about it and just how everything plays a part, even if you
Yeah,
don't realize that you are a part of this world, you may not understand it, but you are a part of the fabric. And it's a really great moment, especially for Harry, who's holding the baby, who's finally stopped crying, and he finally starts to get a little bit more of an idea of
yeah.
what he's doing there on Earth, even though he's not an alien anymore.
So Gavin and I talked about this, I think, a little bit in one of the old. If I'm remembering correctly, I think one of the old casual heroes where we talked about the Benoit murder suicide. Gavin made a point of saying, I think that was the episode. Suicide is one of the most uh, selfish things you can do. It is an act of cowardice and selfishness because you have no idea what impact you're going to have on everybody else, and you don't seem and you seemingly don't care. It is a cowardly act of hurting the people around you. I'm not going to get into a whole thing here, but I will tell you that at my worst moments where I was like, just give me an opportunity and I'm out. The only reason I stayed around was because I don't want my kids to grow up with a dad who committed suicide.
We're not going to
And
go into lengthy discussions about that, but
yeah,
I I've been on that end too.
so that's why the stuff with some. Also, sorry to hear that. Um, I that's why the stuff with Darcy affected me so much because I was like over empathizing with her character. Um, and her feeling listless and lost and feeling like she's a burden to people, and she spent a fair amount of the series disappointing people.
Mhm.
She kisses the mayor when she wasn't supposed to. She's been lying to the mayor and his wife about the baby. I can't remember if by this point she's lost Asta's money.
That was the catalyst because
Okay,
she lied to because Asta says, "Hey, I just called the bank. The money wasn't deposited." And she goes, "Well, that must be a mistake because I deposited it." And that's what the tipping point for her because Asta has always been able to see through her bullshit.
right.
And I mean,
I
they've been
that's
best.
it. I don't feel like I matter anymore. And if I
Yeah.
don't matter, then what am I still? Life hurts as much as it does. Why am I still here?
Hmm.
Um, but that actress, I never realized how good that actress was until that scene because she plays kind of a ditz, but she's really good, and she elicits a lot of sympathy and empathy in that one scene, and it was I think I wrote you like I cried during that
Yeah.
whole bit.
Yeah.
It was rough.
It
I
was
think it was
really
good
rough.
though. It was because I'll tell you, like, I agreed to do this. I'm a completist. I like talking to you. This is not that much of an ask of me. It's not like it's The West Wing, 23 fucking episodes. So it's like I'm not. So I wasn't gonna fight you about this, but I wasn't really looking forward to watching the show or this podcast for that matter, just because like I'm kind of over it now. We did it at a time where, if you'll remember, we were still going through like COVID lockdown and whatnot. So I
Hmm.
was looking for stuff to do. I was also reviewing anything that was even like remotely attached to a comic book. So here we are. But um,
Well, now
I
you're just stuck with me for only murders in the building and monsters.
I'm no and Peacemaker.
Oh, and Peacemaker, right?
Um, there will always be something. You're like the Greek. There's always more. But my point with bringing all that up is I was very glad that I saw this through and watched this season because that episode and that scene made it all worth it.
Absolutely. And we found out that souls make a tasty dipping sauce.
I'm not going to say the show isn't retarded stupid at times. It seems to oscillate between like really great like drama and really stupid comedy and can't ever seem to find a pitch.
It does have some really great jokes. I love this line from I think it's episode 8. After Ben and Kate walk in on Max hugging Harry in his alien form, covered in alien goo, because he just stabbed his father. Because Harry just stabbed his father to save Max. And then and it's been established that Harry gets really annoyed when people don't knock.
Right.
And then Asta and Darcy come in, and the line is, "Why do humans have so many knock knock jokes if they do not knock knock?"
I hope your next husband is Alan Tudyk. I don't think there's anybody on this planet that you love more than that man, besides maybe James Gunn.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that's last part. Oh, what can I say? The man's a joy, and I will forever say the world, we need more Alan Tudyk and stuff, okay?
I'm not going to take that little bit of joy from you.
Well, he's happily married to the woman who choreographed the Peacemaker dance.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. We actually talked about this prior, because when she was choreographing it, she couldn't get John Cena for the blocking. She needed to film it to see how it was going to look. So Alan did it for her. So somewhere there's a video of Alan Tudyk doing the Peacemaker dance from the opening credits.
I'm sure that's fantastic.
I know, right? I was like, I need to see this. This needs to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think my favorite thing about the series is that they do really wrap everything up nicely. Ben and Kate get their daughter back. I think I actually prefer the name Daisy as opposed to the name Bella. But
that made me laugh. It was just like oh, it's like okay, here's Daisy. You named her Daisy. Like you haven't had the blessing of children. If you miss stuff, it really hurts. So like imagine being a mom of this baby and like you miss the opportunity to name her. You miss these little elements of infancy or toddlerhood. So like I really felt bad for Kate. Darcy was really funny about it. It's just like, we won't tell mommy your name is stupid, and I'll just keep calling you Daisy.
There is that really touching scene. Darcy thinks she's doing good by showing the pictures of Bella's first laugh, first smile, whatever. And she thinks she's trying to do good, but Kate is just so messed up that it's like I wasn't there for it. I'm seeing photos.
Darcy's line, and this should resonate with you based on some things you've told me. It's just like the tendency to make everything about her and having to realize that is something she needs to work on.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to fuck up and realize you've accidentally hurt somebody. That's kind of forgivable for the most part. Most people, like if you don't know you're doing it, there's no malicious intent. They'll act accordingly. But after Kate was like, this is not working for me. Please go. And Darcy is wallowing in her own rejection. But I was doing a nice thing and you rejected me. And that's the real problem here. And that's not the real problem. And so a scene or two later, she realizes like I have to stop making everything about me. Like I guess Darcy goes through, Asta, Harry, Darcy, they all go through really great arcs. And I have to say, like, one of the things I like about Resident Alien, especially the way that it ended, is it definitely feels like they took great pains to make sure Harry left the town in a better place than he found it. Which is important because without doing that, I think the show would suck.
Asta does tell him, she says, the Earth is a better place since you've been here. And it is really touching when, they say goodbye and all of his friends come out to say goodbye to him. And I love that he gives the little contactor thing to Max. It goes, and it says dial 9 first. Roaming charges may apply. And he says it when he's in the alien makeup, so it just
Mhm.
makes it all the better. Am I crazy, or when he was in the alien makeup, does it sound like he's more aggressive than when he's out of it? I never could tell. It's like, is it just because I'm seeing the makeup and it's so I think it sounds more aggressive?
Maybe you might be projecting.
Yeah, because when he says roaming charges, it sounds a little gruffer. And
I mean, maybe they're changing the tone. It is like a CG thing. I don't think he's in a costume.
I have no idea. Although I can't help but think that Anthony Daniels would be really thrilled if he actually was in makeup. There's a fun, playful rivalry between those two.
I have heard.
Yeah, yeah. You were just in a mocap suit. You didn't have to get screwed into the robot. Damn you!
I still say my favorite Anthony Daniels story is them shooting him in Tunisia and the plates kept falling off of him.
My favorite was at Star Wars Celebration, the year they were announced, the year that they popped the trailer for Rise of Skywalker, and he said he had written his autobiography, and he had a title for it, but the publisher said, no one's going to get it. And he said, look, they picked the other title. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to tell you what I wanted. And because I need to know if people would have gotten it. Telling me the odds. Everyone blew up laughing, and he's just got this look. I was just like, "Thank you!" Just that vindication on his face. That's my favorite Anthony Daniels memory.
Fantastic.
So there really isn't that much to talk about. Like I said, we talked about the whole thing with the. We have Joseph, the gray hybrid, who apparently was told, okay, now you get to be a little bit more dorky because you're not working for the Greys anymore, and gets to leave the show to the music to the Hulk. Oh my God, that was great.
I guess I don't totally understand the internal logic of the show. I don't understand why he couldn't repair his face. His earthly form is a costume.
I don't know. I don't know how the human gray hybrid thing works. If it is a costume, or if it's just something with his DNA,
Mm-hmm.
or because I after that I was like, well, I guess they don't know how to, recombobulate their face. Although the whole scene of him trying to talk to them and Asta, Darcy, and Harry saying, "Will you please turn and look at the kitchen?" because they didn't want to see the destruction.
It was funny, and it's one of those things where I don't think the writers cared. Like I don't think they were, I think they pretty much thought like we want him to keep his massacred, fucking Phantom of the Opera face. And they're like, okay, but what is the internal logic? Who fucking cares? Who's watching this show for internal logic?
Yeah. Still cute that he, like I said, that he gets extra goofy. He proposes to Asta after them sleeping together a couple of times.
I have seen worse.
I have too. Yeah, and again, oh my God, Jinx Monsoon coming in as the voice of Bruce, the alien. Jinx Monsoon is a really great, fun actor or actress. I'm actually not sure what they go by, but I love when they get to have cameos. They do a lot of voiceover work, so hearing them play Bruce and just how thrilled they are to be in Vegas. I love seeing them just like totally wrapped up in the scarves and everything. And when the arm falls off, they go, "Oh, well, I shouldn't be surprised. My foot fell off in the elevator." And then when he's talking to her, it's like, "I know how you can get your essence back. Why are you whispering? You're speaking telepathically." I wrote down a ton of quotes from the season that I absolutely loved. I also got here, that road trip started normal, but then it ran into a ditch.
Nice.
Again, the comedy writing for the show, I think, was really good. I think they had some really good writers on here to, really perk up the humor. So, yeah, I really don't have much else to talk about. I absolutely loved how it wrapped up. I love the ending. I love the little clips showing humanity doing good. The reminder that kindness is what sets us apart.
Yeah.
It's what we should strive for. I frankly think that's a lesson, especially nowadays, that people need to hold on to.
I thought it was a very nice message. No notes. Like I said, it's a bit of a lightweight show for me. I'm finding it a little bit more difficult these days to go from something as like The West Wing to this, and with and no in between. But
Well, my previous before this was Stranger Things season 1 and rewatching Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. So,
yes, there's a lot of tonal whiplash on this network.
yeah.
But I despite myself, it was an enjoyable watch. I'm not unhappy we did this.
Absolutely. Again, it probably should have ended previous season, but for what we got for the last season, I was very impressed. I had a lot of fun. Binged it all within 2 days because Lord knows I was too busy trying to rewatch Stranger Things season 1 for the retrospective, and me, I can't watch multiple shows at once.
Otherwise, you labeled that "Damn You Hollywood" and I had to fix it. I try to not bother you about stuff. Like you use dashes when I want you to use colons, and that's like I'll just fix it in post. But going to the thing to go to put the art up and everything, and I see "Damn You Hollywood Stranger Things," I'm just like, fucking Alexis.
What did I do on the banner or
no? That's what you labeled the podcast.
In all fairness, I recorded that the night before I had to start an 8.5-hour drive to Colorado, so my brain was probably a little mushy.
I'm not yelling at you. We'll just talk about it in your performance review.
Oh, great. For the record, if I'm using dashes or colons when I'm not supposed to, please let me know, because I was actually not under the impression that there was a law about that.
That it mattered? Yes. And look, I have been told once or twice that I've got a little too much attention to detail, and I'm sorry, propriety. These things matter. What is civilization if we don't attend to the details?
You renamed me a sacrificial lamb. You tell me.
Because that's funny and that matters.
I don't really have much else to talk about. I have my other notes here. It's like, oh, of course, the mantid laid in egg sack, because I frankly thought that was kind of a cliche plot point. And cyborg dad ex machina.
Yeah, I have to say they did do a halfway decent amount, a decent job of creating tension in the scene with Liv and I think it's Joseph. Where they're
no, Joseph. I think it's Robert.
Robert.
Yeah.
Where they're outside the egg sack. It was a good scene. It was done well. All right. So if we're good to go to plugs, I can start.
Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry, folks. The Resident Alien was still a great show. I'm really glad we stuck around for all 4 seasons. But frankly, there's not much else to talk about.
We made it to an hour.
Yeah, go check out the finale, the series finale. It's a lot of fun, and we'll just see what new show comes on that I have to pester Mark into starting with me, and then that starts a multi-year journey, which he never forgives me for roping him into it.
I may or may not have more time going forward. Anyway, Sunday we did Baby Metal. There's a strange clicking sound now whenever we don't go live. I don't understand why. I don't understand what's causing it, or if it's not so much the live versus recorded thing, that it's the amount of YouTube pages we have up. I don't know, but there's a really weird clicking in the recording, and it bothers me. And it's the second time that's happened that I can recall. Speaking of clicking, myself and Robert reviewed Night Always Comes on from Netflix. Hey, have you seen a Netflix movie? Well, then you've seen this one. Tomorrow, myself and Mick will be reviewing Fear Street. Have you seen? I gotta ask you before let me finish, but I want to talk about this with you. We're going to be reviewing Fear Street, Prom Queen, The Old Guard 2, and Fountain of Youth. Fuck those other 2 movies. Who cares? Prom Queen is fucking great. It's terrible, but it's great. And I don't want to give too much away, but there is a scene where someone gets beheaded and their head goes into a punch bowl, and they don't cancel the prom. My son and I were howling, laughing at this. Like everything that happens from that point, because like at that point I was like half involved in the movie. Like there was stuff going on that night, so my brain was not totally focused on it. But I wanted to watch it for the podcast. Jonas has just watched all 3 Fear Street movies, so he was like ready to go with this. And we're both watching it. We're not really making a lot of comments, and then we get to the head in the punch bowl, and they don't cancel the prom, and they don't call the cops. And we were like, that's it. The movie completely lost us. Have you seen this?
Not yet. I want to sit down and watch it, but it's a case of I need to find the time to sit down and watch a show where it's not for you. It's very hard to find times like, okay, I can actually just sit down and watch this for the
Well,
hell of it.
Well, it's a 90-minute movie.
Oh, I thought it was a mini series.
No, it's a 90-minute
Okay,
movie.
never mind. I can find time for that.
Yeah. The fierce the trilogy are also movies. I don't remember how long they are, but me, Sean, and Ronnie, what a mess that was. We reviewed those when it came out back in 2021. Back in the old days.
Was that before I started on the network? I think I can't remember. No.
2021.
Oh, 2021. Never mind. Never mind. I was thinking the wrong year. Never mind. My bad.
Oh boy. Anyway,
Again, tired. Spent all day yesterday in a car.
I get you. Like, there's a reason why I move around a lot when we record this late.
Yeah. I've got to find out the hard way that when you drive a much bigger car like I do now, you get a lot more dead bugs. I could barely see out my windshield today when I had to go run errands.
Monday night, myself and Robert will be doing a triple feature. There's no movie to review, so Robert and I wanted to do a couple of triple features doing director focuses. This one is on Joel Schumacher. We're doing The Lost Boys, Falling Down, and 8mm. None of these things are just like the others. Wednesday, myself and Harry are doing an Indie-Siders. We're looking at Game Changer Wrestling versus Juggalo Championship Wrestling, the 2-day war, because Harry hates me. And then on Thursday, myself, Shay, Sean, and possibly somebody else that Dorian pimped out, we'll be looking at the Toxic Avenger movies, gearing up for the new Toxic Avenger movie that'll be out the following weekend. So that's what's going down the old gullet tonight.
Well, this is actually almost the end for a very, very long stretch of work I've been doing for you. In addition to Damn You Hollywoods for Superman, the new Fantastic Four, and a couple of Unholy Trinity get-togethers to review together, and Weapons. I was going over. It's like, wow, okay, so it's like I know what you did last summer. Week after that was The Bear. Then we had the Monsters, Lyle and Eric Menendez, and then last week was my Stranger Things season 1 retrospective, and now Resident Alien. Then I was like, oh, I've actually got a little time off now. So the next time we'll be doing a TV party tonight, which I will be helming, is going to be on September 3rd. That will be looking at Twisted Metal season 2. Jason Teasley and occasional guest Josh Thino and I will be discussing it, looking at it. And then I don't have anything else until 2 weeks after that, in which Robert and I will be hosting a Damn You Hollywood look at The Long Walk. This is a new another Stephen. There are 3 Stephen King adaptations this year: The Monkey, The Long Walk, and Running Man. So we're going to be doing that. And the night after that, Jesse Starcher is coming back, and we're going to talk Stranger Things season 2 as we continue our retrospective, 1 season per month, with the exception of December, in which we will be looking at Stranger Things meets Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the graphic novel. Because if Jesse and I have a weakness, it is these cheesy as hell crossover comics.
When is The Long Walk?
September 16th. It's a Tuesday.
Yep. All right. I already had it on the calendar. What I did not have was Twisted Metal. Do you have anything on the 10th?
Nope.
Just the 17th?
Yeah. Like I said, I was looking at my schedule. Like the last 2 months, I've been going so much for the network. It's like, oh, good. Break. Which is also ironic because for the first time in ages, I do not have any conventions in September. This is usually one of our busiest months. And I looked, I'm like, just didn't work out that way. Got a couple in October and 2 in November. But other than that, September is kind of going to be an easy month for me. Thank you, God. Sorry, I need this. So we just wrapped up the Colorado Springs Comic-Con. We love going out there, had a lot of fun. I love going out to Colorado Springs, love going hiking. Don't know if you saw the pictures I posted of my hike, but I came across like an 8-foot rattlesnake on the hike back, and yeah, just a little on the terrifying side.
Did Zach protect you? Was he your hero?
No, Zach wasn't with me. I was by myself.
You went hiking by yourself?
We were going to meet up to hike together. The problem was that he wasn't going to get to Colorado Springs till close to 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I was going to run it a little late because we also wanted to have dinner. And I knew he wanted to get on the road before it got too late and too dark because he doesn't want to drive from Colorado Springs back to Denver in the middle of the night. So we talked about it. I said, look, why don't I just go on my hike solo and then we'll go to dinner afterwards? He was fine with it. And yeah, coming back, nearly stepped on this giant snake crossing the trail path, took 2 steps back, snapped a photo so I could plug it into Google AI because I was like, what the hell did I just nearly step on? Prairie rattlesnake, dear sweet God. And of course, you can't step off the trails. So I'm backing up as far away from this thing as I can. It's like, okay, yeah.
Did it come after you at all, or
No,
just left
no.
it alone?
I think it was just, it had rained earlier. I think it was just trying to stretch out on the paved part of the trail to get some sun.
Gotcha.
It starts turning around. I had my earbuds in, so I didn't hear it or anything.
Are you didn't tell it to go fuck yourself?
Thankfully, no. But I will say this: as it started,
Hey!
well, see, as it started to turn around and go back into the bushes. For the record, I know that this is a public park, and I know there's a lot of animals in the park because there's signs all over the place. Like you see wild animals, just don't bother them, and most of them will not bother you.
Right.
So I figured the snake is probably seeing humans. It's just like, okay. And I'm like, okay, you go back in your bush and I'll go along my way. But I could see the rattle shaking. I'm like, okay, I'm leaving. You've made your point. I'm going. Bye.
It's like when I was telling the story earlier to somebody, like when you're kayaking or canoeing down the Hillsborough River and you see the alligators and they're just looking at you. They have this like menacing gang violence look. They're just like, just keep it moving, pal.
Yeah, it's like that line from Ant-Man. It's like, okay, you don't sting me, I don't step on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that was a fun experience. Texted the picture to Andre. He said, don't touch it. I'm like, how stupid do you think I am? No, seriously, no. I love Colorado Springs, but yeah, we've got some time off coming up. I'm gonna be heading to GalaxyCon in St. Louis in October. That's a big con. Looking forward to it. Trying to figure out if we got into the Cincinnati Comic Expo because they're not sending me any info, and I'm just like, well, am I in or not, guys? Because I got to book a freaking hotel. After that, in November, we'll be in the Twin Cities Con. We do that one every year, have a lot of fun. And 2 weeks after that, we will be doing a show here in our hometown, Planet Anime, and that will be wrapping it up for the convention scene for Honeysuckle Rose for 2025. In the meantime, of course, our shops are fully stocked. I just got a ton of Clue tokens in, so all the Clue items have been completely restocked on both Etsy and Handmade at Amazon. And as always, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok. That's Honeysuckle Rose Creations, where fashion meets fandom at the intersection of geek and chic. There, I did I did the plugs that pay me without doing the honeysuckle hustle. There, you happy?
Sure. Hit it, Whitey.
Robert said I should get the clip of the honeysuckle hustle and put it in as a sound bite and then hit that every time I start on this. And I said, no, Mark has never shown me how to add sound bites because he knows that I can't be trusted with that.
Okay, please take us out.
All right. Thanks a lot for tuning in tonight, guys. Have a good night.